John, you good? Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Beginning of our meeting tonight, we did have Vince Doro from Kalia here to give us a little bit of information about certification, so you can come forward and talk to us about that.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Vince Doro. I'm the Regional Program Manager for the Southeast region of Kalia, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. The Chief asked me to come and speak just a few minutes about specifically what Kalia is, what we do, and why we do it, because some of you were not on the council when the agency came on board. Back in 1979, Kalia was formed by 4 organizations with a grant from the Department of Justice. The 4 organizations are the National Sheriff's Association, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, the Police Executive Research Forum, and the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement Executives. They are our governing body, and they appoint our commissioners. We have 21 commissioners that are throughout the communities, throughout the agencies that we serve. 11 are required to be active law enforcement. The other 10 are members of elected bodies. We have city administrators, we have judges, we have state senators. So we have all walks of life that work in public safety that promulgate our standards. The standards we promulgate advise a police department what they need to do, not how they need to do it. What we say is a police department must have a written directive that covers a topic. Once we get that in place, we come in and assess the agency. We look at the agency for whether their policy is in place that meets the intent of the standards and whether they're actually following that policy. Now, what does this give for the agency? We are the only independent reviewing body in law enforcement in the United States. We cover the United States, Mexico, Canada, and Barbados. So we have expertise from multi-jurisdictions. The people that come in and look at your function of your agency are all law enforcement executives that they know what they're talking about. So they come in, and it's hard to pull the wool over the eyes of us because we've been there and done that time. What it gives for the agency once we do this review is it lets your citizens know that you're upholding the highest standards in the law enforcement profession. Those standards change, and our policies and our standards can change up to 3 times a year. So it's a never-ending process. We look at the agency's paper for 3 years of a 4-year cycle, and we talk remotely to members of the agency and members of the community to find out how things are going. And then on the 4th year, we send an actual body in to interact. Some of you on this dais may have interacted with one of our assessors when they come in the past, which we did last year for this agency. Now, what we see as a community of professionals is we see that this gives the community and the governing body a reassurance that your agency is doing the right thing for the right reason. Now, does that prevent any problems with the agency? Of course it doesn't. There's always going to be some time where there'll be a lapse in judgment, or there may be a lapse in policy adherence, where one of the personnel in the agency does not follow a policy and does not make good judgment. What it does in that case is you know that there is an in-writing process for how to handle that. What does the agency do? How do they handle if there's an event that comes up? Is it done according to law? Of course. And is it done according to our standards, which in sometimes are stricter than state laws? So our agencies have to comply with that. Less than 5% of the agencies in the country are Kalia accredited. We think that we need to have a lot more because we wish that every agency rises to that level. There's only 13 in the state of Alabama that are accredited. So it is a very good thing for you and for your community. What we look at when we have incidents that happen is we look at whether our standards were violated. We do that on a continuing basis. I have Google searches for all of my agencies, so anytime something comes up, I look at it. If I believe as the program manager that something has violated the standard, I bring it to the immediate attention of the commission, and then they take action if they need to. A lot of times we wait till the incident settles down, till we see what happens, and then we look at it on our yearly review. And then, of course, the commissioners will again look at any major incident on the 4-year cycle. So what does that give you as a governing body? We have seen that it fosters a learning process within the agency so that they're always learning, they're always worried about what's next up, what's the next best thing to do, and also it lowers your liability. When you have a lawsuit that comes in, you can easily prove with third-party independent verification that your policies are correct, your training is correct, you have training records that are required to be kept. Your training programs are analyzed each and every year to make sure they meet the needs of your agency and your community. So is it going to stop all of your liability? No. But is it going to help when you have a problem? Yes, indeed. We have kept court cases on the federal level for 1983 federal cases where the agency has been dismissed from litigation due to our accreditation. So that's what it is in a nutshell and why we do it. If there's any questions from you about what we do and why that I haven't talked about, please let me know and I'll be glad to help in any way I can. And also be here for a little bit if some of the citizens want to ask me as well.
Any questions?
I have some.
Yes, sir.
You said that when something arises and it comes to the level where you have to, where it draws your attention, you
Yes.
come in and you'll review that. Does that mean that things are not happening below that level on a regular basis where people aren't following policies and procedures that don't necessarily rise to the level of you coming in and reviewing that?
We look at those proofs every year for the use of force, especially in any grievance type things. We look at the paperwork on that every year, so we see documentation that that's happening. We do have a public portal that the agencies are required to have active at least 60 days a year that comes directly to the commission. Any citizen that comes in and files a complaint with that, it comes directly to me, and then I forward it on to the chief executive officer of the agency, and we see whether there's been a standard violation at that point. So it's ongoing, but I don't have to notify the commission on anything that would not be a major violation until we come around to our 4-year cycle.
So if there's no report of unnecessarily, if there's no report that comes to you, then there's really no way for you to know about it and
Well,
follow up with it.
We require that the agencies report all of their use of force and hiring and firing statistics every year through an annual status report.
So if someone were just pulled out of the car and roughed up and it were not reported and the citizen didn't report it, you would have no idea.
If it's not reported to anybody, of course I wouldn't have it. If we see something on YouTube or whatever, then of course I get notification.
I guess my question then boils down to this. There could be a situation where policies and procedures are violated and you not know about it and it not affect our Kalia rating, correct?
Yes, there would be. It depends on the action. And that's where we ask for the proofs of policy. If the agency has a policy violation that's non-compliant, not within policy, then we look at those numbers. If the agency takes appropriate action, then there's not a standard violation.
Well, I guess my question is, you're saying the agency has a violation, but if it's not reported, if it's not recorded actually, then you don't know about
Right,
it.
if it's not recorded in any way, of course we don't.
Okay, and so if an officer were out there and they were doing things and of course they're not gonna report it, and if the citizen doesn't report it, then it's just out there and Kalia has no idea that it's going on.
We're not an investigative.
I mean,
body.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
And of course, the agency in your instance wouldn't know about it either, so that's where the problem comes in.
Well,
If the agency knows about it, they're required to let us know by statistics.
okay, they're required, they should let you know about it.
Yes.
Okay.
And because we're a voluntary program, I can tell you, we don't have a problem with getting the numbers good or bad from our agencies, because if they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to give it to us, they wouldn't be in the program.
I think that, I don't know that I agree with that, because they would probably want to be in the program because it gives credibility. It extends credibility, and it doesn't matter, and not necessarily Decatur's police department, let's just take any XYZ. If they were not in compliance, they would still want the Kalia certification because it gives credibility. So all sorts of things could be going on behind the scene that you don't know about, but they still have the credibility of having a Kalia rating, correct? Is that possible?
I would say that there may be a time period that we wouldn't know about it. However, with the reviews that we do of policies and procedures and the interviews that we do, we don't just interview the agency. We'll interview governing bodies, we'll interview court. When I was an assessor for the commission, I would actually interview the hotel clerk when I walked in to find out what's going on in the agency, what's happening. So yes, I guess any agency could hide it for a short period of time, but we have many agencies that lose their accreditation due to things that come up.
I mean, I guess you were here when we got accredited. Did you support the process?
I did. I supported the process. Chief Allen brought it forth, and he was very up forward with it, and thought that this would help us in a recruitment process. It would help us as far as moving our police department forward. But I think things have come up since that time that make you wonder if things go on behind the scenes that aren't reported to Kalia that they don't know about. So that's my concern, is that, and as you said, everybody wants a Kalia certification because it lends credibility to that department. But it doesn't mean that everybody, and don't get me wrong, I do think that the vast majority of our police officers are good police officers. But just like any other department, there can be some officers who kind of go off page. And if those things aren't reported, we still keep that Kalia rating if you're not notified of it, or you're not made aware of it, or you don't talk to a hotel clerk and they know of something that happens, as you refer to, or a council member might not know. So, that's just, it kind of concerns me that, a department can have a Kalia rating and it stands for all good. And it means that we're supposed to be doing everything the right way. But it doesn't actually say that we are doing things the right way.
And that's one of the reasons why we have our public portal that comes directly to us.
Okay.
So that a citizen can anonymously report something on our portal.
Okay.
And we'll take a look for standard compliance.
Okay, I appreciate you.
Real quick.
Question, sir.
Yes, sir.
If Kalia is so accredited, and you're only 5% of departments are Kalia accredited, instead of giving a city a sales pitch, why would you not give them a reason or what you do to keep people safe, and then in turn put that in action by, instead of waiting on something to happen, you do things like randomized drug tests. Instead of randomized drug tests, you pop into the Decatur City Police Department and you go, hey, I want 9 body cameras for my last 2 shifts and I want to see what they're doing. Instead of waiting for it to come to you, if you're so accredited, go take care of the problem.
I can tell you why. Okay?
Yes, sir.
We're not an investigative body. We're not a government agency. We don't have the ability to come in like that and look at sensitive information. By state laws, we can't.
Yes, sir.
But
So my
I
question-
do understand what you're talking
If
about.
it is such an accredited agency, and I'm trying to be respectful, please don't take me as being disrespectful. But if he wants to be a Kalia accredited agency,
Right.
and he trusts you with his department and your accreditation for his department, then when you come in and you say, hey, I want the last 9 body cameras for the past 2 shifts, if he wants to keep his Kalia accreditation, that should be part of the deal.
Right. We do have a standard on body cameras that requires supervisory review of body cameras and action taken mandatory by us, that they have to report in their files every year to us, and we check those. So we're forcing that to be done on an administrative level to find out. And they have to report whether they find things or whether they don't.
But when we have a problem on an administrative level, you'll never know.
Well, I will, because they have to report that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Now,
All right.
yeah, they don't tell us the specifics,
This is,
Thank you, sir.
right? The agency.
all
The
right,
agency has to report to us.
the agency,
Sometimes it's the bad people who have to report
well,
this stuff. So if you're bad, you don't-
all right, guys, this is not gonna be a town hall today. Anything else from you guys? All right, and if we have questions, we have your contact.
You have my card, and I'll be glad to help in any way I can. And if any of your community wants to call and talk to me about specific standards, I'll be glad to do that.
You have another card?
Yes, I have one.
Yeah.
Give me one, please.
Thank you for coming.
My pleasure, my pleasure. You know, I've been doing this a long time, and law enforcement is a hard profession, and need all the support we can get from the community as well. So we're open and we're above board. Everything we do is
Thank you.
Did you say that the chief of police,
Mr. Ball.
hey, Sarah,
Wait, we gotta move on into the agenda.
I'll be back out here in a minute.
Hey, I'll see.
that's what it says.
All right, approval of minutes. Any questions on those? All right, set public hearings, resolution 24019, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 1616 Danville Road Southwest. Set public hearing for March 4th, 2024, 6 p.m.
No changes.
All right, any questions? All right, resolution 24020, approve abatement of unsafe conditions at 609 3rd Avenue Southwest. Set public hearing for March 4th at 6 p.m.
No changes.
All right. Ordinance 244576, approve rezoning request 141923 for property located at 1306 Somerville Road Southeast. Set public hearing for March 4th, 2024, 6 p.m.
How y'all doing? I'm Tommy Williams with the City of Decatur, and the applicant is requesting to rezone 0.34 acres from MC Medical to R3 Single Family. The property is located at 1306 Somerville Road, and the land use is currently residential. It went before the Planning Commission in November and was approved 6-0. The parcel does meet all requirements for R3 zoning.
It's currently medical.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it contiguous with residential right now?
It's across the street, yes.
Okay.
All right, any questions? All right, resolutions. Resolution 24021, approve MUB expenditure of $10,998,525 for wastewater lift station 7 replacement. Tom?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ladner, Mayor, Council, Tom Cleveland, Water Resources Manager, Decatur Utilities. This is an expenditure to replace Lift Station 7 located at 1604 5th Street Northwest. This station was originally constructed in 1958, upgraded in 1980, and is now beyond its useful life. This project also includes the replacement of approximately 3,100 feet of gravity and pressurized force main. This project is being funded by existing wastewater bond monies directed at reducing and minimizing SSOs, and was included in the capital expenditure list exceeding $100,000, which was approved by the City Council on November 6, 2023. Since this expenditure exceeds the previously pre-approved amount, as stated, we are bringing this project back to the City Council to request a new approval. The additional costs of this project are related to current economic conditions, primarily relating to ongoing supply chain issues, increased pipe, concrete, and construction costs. DU received 3 responsive bids on this project, and we recommend award to BH Craig Construction Company in Florence, Alabama.
What was the original?
$9,700,000.
Wow, okay. Any questions? Okay, thanks, Tom. Resolution 24022, approve Decatur Morgan County Hospital Association for the redesign upgrade of website. I don't know if it's y'all or.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Don Duke, President, Decatur Morgan County Hospitality Association. We're requesting funds to update our website. It was built in 2012, and we no longer have access to it and can no longer update it. So this is an update and request use of lodging funds in the amount of $20,000.
All right, any questions?
It's going to be lodging funds or hospitality?
Yes, lodging fund, yes.
All right, thanks, Don. Resolution 24023, approve Impact 7G to do a historic survey of Austinville.
Yes, Alan Stover, Community Development Manager. The city received a grant to do this historic survey of Austinville, so we're just asking that y'all allow the mayor to sign this agreement with Impact 7G.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Resolution 24024 approves city LDOT maintenance agreement, Cedar Lake Road Rail Highway Crossing Improvement Maintenance of Passive Warning Devices.
Yeah, I met with some representatives of ALDOT about 2 years ago, and they recommended doing some improvements, but at no cost to us. They were going to do it and pay for it. And it's some signage and some striping on the streets, painting, and just doing some updates. And this is a maintenance agreement in relation to that work.
All right, any questions? Resolution 24025, approve agreement with Skipper Consulting for signal modification on Modus Road at intersection of Jack Allen.
Yeah, as we've gone through the design of Modus Road, we've determined we're going to need to move the poles there at Jack Allen. So this is to get Skipper involved to do that design for the new signal poles.
With the poles moving, will there be a turn lane?
Going in,
Yeah,
there'll be a right turn lane going in,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, ordinance's first reading, ordinance 244577, approve updated floodplain development policy.
Well, I thought I could answer it. We're updating the floodplain ordinance. It's required by, be part of the flood insurance. This is just updated, several pages. We would like for you to go ahead and consider a double vote because it's just updating an ordinance been in place for years. The state's approved it, the federal group has approved it, and what we're doing is just updating because that's what's required.
Okay.
That's what this does.
All right, you got the next one too. Ordinance 244574, approved parade ordinance revision.
Okay, the ordinance that we presented at the last meeting, we've had some input and see some need for clarification. Our process is that there's a public space usage committee that interacts. For example, the Christmas parade and anything that involves barricades or closing of streets and those kind of things also goes through that group. So that clarification needs to be probably made in this ordinance we have. If you'll bear with me, I'll go through the other suggestions. The other question was, how does this interact when somebody's already got this particular space reserved? Well, the answer is whoever has the space already reserved gets to use it, and the others cannot use it at that time. And then the question becomes, if the chief's not available, well, it's been my experience over the years, if the chief's not available, then he has someone that's designated to be available. So that's what this definition of chief of police states.
Okay.
And then, let's see if we get on over to basically the process of the Public Space Usage Committee is going to stay in place whereby insurance is required, time, place, barricades and all that's involved. And all we would do is, in this particular ordinance, is put that and just reference that that's still in place. And that's probably it. So I guess what I was suggesting, if that's an okay thing, then we would make those adjustments and have it ready, send it out, and then you would consider that at your next meeting. If it's acceptable, you can double vote it. If it's not, then it would be delayed.
Did you have something?
I mean, is Hunter Pepper on call?
Can you, he was, I can't speak
He's
to
not
him.
anymore?
I'm not sure.
What was the question?
If
Oh.
Hunter Pepper's on call?
Can you
He's
tell
the
if-
only one that seems to be confused on this, I think.
I'm not sure if he is. Hunter, are you on the phone?
All right, well, but basically, I view these as just clarification. Keep in mind, the purpose of this, one of the purposes was to make it clear that certain activities are not required to get a parade permit. And that's one of the things that's in place. But if you are going to have whereby you're gonna block streets, and it's very clear in here, block streets, block the sidewalks, impact pedestrian or traffic, you need to get a permit.
Yeah.
If you don't do those things, and then you don't. So only these would come into effect if you have to get a permit. These are items if you're gonna get a permit.
Can you speak up? I can't hear you over here. Your
Well,
voice-
I'm talking into the mic, I'm sorry.
Well, the speaker's not on or something.
All right, well, what I'm saying basically is, we have in place, I don't know if it's, I don't believe it's on.
John, I don't think it is either. You gotta speak back.
You're not addressed to the public anymore, so it's hard to hear.
Well, what I'm saying, if it's okay, I'll address it since
That's
it's a question. What I'm saying is, the parade permit, the ordinance that we have in place, I believe it needs some clarification, slight clarification, because we have it in place, and y'all are familiar, supposedly you're familiar with the public space usage requirements, where you have barricades, you put up, block streets and those kind of things, and then traffic control, pedestrian.
What does it have to do with protest?
I'm sorry,
It doesn't.
Right.
That's kind of the
Go ahead.
point.
that's the point I'm trying to make here.
Because parades.
I'm trying to clarify that those, if you have a true
I think
parade.
we just need Hunter Pepper in here, because he was the one who was confused.
Well, no, I'm sharing
All
with
that.
you the input. I just think it needs to be clarified. It's, basically, to make sure that we understand that if you have any items that affect the street, sidewalks, public space, ingress, egress to buildings, then you need a permit. If you don't do those things, you don't need a permit. That's simple as that.
So are you saying if we walk on the sidewalk, we can?
No, ma'am, you're not, y'all are not listening. Y'all are just
You
what
said
we're talking about.
No, you
Let me
said
make sure.
sidewalk, I had the same question.
No,
If
no,
we're
no.
walking on the sidewalk or standing
We're
on the
not changing
sidewalk.
that. I'm sorry,
Nothing
we're not-
changed from
we're
how
not
that was
changing that
last
part of
week.
the ordinance. If you're
not a
going
part of the
to, if
protest.
you're going to
It's just
block
part
a
of the
sidewalk, no, this ordinance stays in effect. All I'm doing is going to clarify that the public space usage committee usage, whereby we barricade streets. In other words, let's just use Decatur High, comes down with their Christmas parade. We have to block the streets because that's what we're talking about. But the purpose of this
So
ordinance.
the exemptions that talk about protest, it technically says that the parade ordinance is exempted from protest. That's what it says in this one. Right,
That's-
so none
That's
of
not
what we do
changing.
as protest need a
That's-
parade ordinance, correct?
That's right, as
That's
long
right.
as there's no
Very
blocking.
good, that's
yeah.
not changing.
Awesome, thank you.
Let's make sure that you can't just arrest somebody when they go stand over by the courthouse with a sign.
Not unless it's in
Or if they
violation.
stand on the
Hold on.
I just wanna make sure that's what.
Okay, I understand. Not unless it's in violation of the things that were listed in that ordinance that was put forward last week, and there was several articles in news stations.
If this, for y'all's purposes, this does.
Just like it was last, just like
That's right, just
Florence's
like it was last
is,
week. We're not
that was
saying
a
all-
beacon of freedom for the First Amendment.
Right,
So,
Unless
we're only
we're
talking.
blocking traffic, we are allowed to protest on sidewalks, stand, march, on sidewalks, not block,
That
without
part-
a parade ordinance.
That part of the ordinance that we proposed is not changing. All right, I just want to make sure.
all right.
Okay, I'm sorry y'all couldn't
Nobody
hear me,
else
because I thought I
is here
did pretty
except
good.
for-
Start now.
This is not on you,
All right, well, no, yeah, all right, now, anything else while I'm up here? Yeah, my time is up.
Good job,
Well, I guess the question, what I need to know is,
Hey, guys, hold on. No, we're good. You have questions?
no, what I want to make sure is, when I make those suggested changes and send it out, all I'm doing is clarifying that this, the requirement of the public space usage is still in place. If you're having, where you're gonna block streets.
I'm okay with that, but just to be clear for everybody in here, that would require a double vote next week.
Yes.
So,
Yes. That's correct, that's why I'm bringing it up.
okay. I'm good with those changes if y'all are.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Changes, okay. It was introduced last week.
That's what, so when we make changes to the ordinance.
When you make changes, you have to reintroduce.
I got you.
I know you do.
I'm just thinking we had introduced it last, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the check for interviews.
Good deal.
All right, I think we'll move into public comment. Mr. Jackson had something, I think, before that.
I had several things that I wanted to address, but there's only really one thing I want to address tonight, and I would ask that the mayor would look into it. We have a situation at 1704 Douthit. Community development has done everything that they could possibly do to correct the situation. The police department has done everything that they could possibly do to correct the situation. And it is, it's literally a nightmare. And Mr. Snowden, if the news stations would go over to 1704 Douthit and take a look at that, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. It is, it's a nightmare. And the people who live on Douthit Street and all the streets around there, Marion and Fay and all the connecting streets, Terre Haute, this is a situation that is like no other situation in our entire city. And I would ask, our courts have set a date for, I want to say, is it April the 4th?
I think it's in April.
April the 4th, which is way down the line. I would ask that you would speak to the courts and see if we could move this forward and expedite this thing and get it, because these people have dealt with this situation for literally months, if not more than a year now. I don't know that any of us want to live with that across the street from us or down the street or around the street from us. So I would ask that you would address that and the other things. I'll address that on future meetings. Sir.
Also, it's some houses on Faith Street need to be dealt with too.
Okay, I'll take a closer look at those, Mr. Checkford, and I'll have community development go with me. I don't know if they're in the shape of this one, though, are they? They're as bad as this one?
Well, it ain't bad, but it's been bad.
Okay, I got it. And I think they're working on the ones.
There's one house in the back of me. I mean, it's terrible.
Okay.
It's been terrible for a lot of years.
Okay.
And I'm calling on and everything, and nobody's done nothing about it.
David and Alan are here. We'll take a closer look at that and we'll address that. But I appreciate it.
All right, we'll go to public comment, same as always, 3 minutes. Please no profanity.
Ms. Ryder?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I knew that, but.
Can we do that if you don't mind?
Yep, no profanity.
Okay, no. I had an unforeseen budget amendment that I would like to add to this coming up agenda. River Tree, a third-party auditing firm that we have a contract with, the Revenue Department has started to in-house audit, but we find large audits since we do not have a certified auditor in our department. We sub those out to a third-party auditor. Since we've had more time to really get into the weeds of it and start to look at the auditing in the latter part of 23, we found some discrepancies that were rather large that we sent to River Tree to audit, and they have caused us to go over in budget of what we pay them. Now, this investment we do very well on in our return from them, but I am asking that we add $70,000 to our budget to be able to pay them for some rather large ones that I found that they are gonna be auditing. Well, one that they have audited and several that they will be auditing.
That's just due to more that we're having them audit.
So they work off percentages, so basically whatever they collect, they take a percentage from, so the more they collect, the more that they pay. But what she's trying to get at is there's a return on this spend in the sense, so far this year, we've spent $66,000 and recovered $516,000 in findings.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have a problem adding that budget amendment.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's it. All right, we will now move into public comment. Craig Johnson was first on the list. Hey, guys, let's let Lori leave. Hold on 1 second.
Anybody else leaving that makes money off of it?
Yes. All right, Craig, we're good.
First thing, that dude come in here and gave y'all a sales pitch on how to make your insurance cheaper, not how to protect the people of this city. Chief, how long you been chief? How many years in the fire department do you have on your belt? Can you count on hands, fingers, toes, how many certificates you have from the Alabama Fire College? Few. Yet we question that man. And everybody done research.
when they want to go 4896 and talk about how safety, and we're not going to give up safety for comfort. Yet we give up safety for comfort when it comes to everything else. I don't see a badge on anybody up there. So I understand when I ask you to question the chief of police that you may say I'm not qualified. But I have an 11-year-old son. Now I got a mouth like a sailor, but if you ever run into my son, you know I raised my son well. And that little joker don't get it both ways. Now I love my son more than anything in the world, so what the hell makes y'all think I'm gonna let y'all have it both ways? If you're not gonna question him, stop questioning him. But if you're gonna question him, start questioning him. There was questions asked towards the fire department. Well, here's the thing. 48, that's too long. If a man works 18 hours and y'all trust him in the 19th hour, what's the difference in the 37th hour? Can you work 18 hours straight? You're a bad man if you can. But those guys, just like this man, run primarily off of adrenaline when they've had to go for the full 12, 24, 48, whatever. And I can tell you that because I wore one of those badges. But nobody up here has, but they want to do the research. There's a misconception that everybody up here was hired to protect this building. There's 5 people sitting up here that were hired to protect these folks from this building. That's the problem. You don't represent the city. He does. And if he messes up, then you can fix it. But there is a misconception that you're the police liaison. You weren't voted in to get along with him. You were voted in to hold him responsible. He is the fire department liaison. He was voted in to keep him responsible. I've had meetings and meetings and meetings and come up here and I've tried to help both ways. Try to meet in the middle. I came to you with a plan, 2 of you, with a plan to where we could drop charges and draw a line saying, hey, this is it. And from this point forward, but at least we made a baseline. Because what happened has not been right. I didn't so much as get a phone call after that. A phone call. And you sit and you want to say that Kalia accreditation is worth something. The only thing it's worth is what you're saving on your city insurance. And not one of y'all questioned it. Excuse me, I think you did.
I did.
Yes, sir.
Craig, hit 3 minutes, wrap up.
Anybody got 3 minutes? Thank you.
I need names.
There was only one of you that questioned it. But yet, there was something that came through about a street sign. And you questioned that. You questioned that. You're not here to protect. This right here is a symbol that you're able to make change because of us. Y'all took this podium from over there and moved it right here because the dude said MF'er. Did any one of y'all stand up to whoever made this decision and go, I didn't feel unsafe. I walk out with these people every day when we leave. Ain't none of them ever hit me in the mouth. Put that back, because all you're doing is showing the people that you don't care, and you're putting one more thing on the list of stuff that we've done against them, instead of looking at them and go, we understand and we're here to help. But nobody stood up, and this thing is still sitting right here. The only thing you did was showed you can make change against the people. And the 5 of y'all are here for us. You're not supposed to get along with him. You're supposed to hold him accountable. You're supposed to make sure that he don't spend our money more than he needs to do it. You're supposed to make sure that the people in your district don't have to worry about the fire department being too tired. If that's the case, fine. But you make sure the police department don't shoot people. And then when it comes time to actually stand up, you will sit in a back room or you'll smile in my face out there. I don't have a problem personally with any of y'all. But when it comes to business, if I don't sell bearings right, they're going to fire me. But when somebody comes to you and says, hey man, we need you to speak out at the meeting, I'll talk to you afterwards. It's high time you started using those microphones and stop using them to go, okay, we'll send 10 million through. Whatever, we don't even ask a question on 10 million. We ask about light pole. Kalia finally comes in here. Dude gives you a sales pitch. You don't even go, hey man, there's a red flag here. Why ain't we checking body cams like we do random drug tests? I have to stand my fat ass up and ask that.
Correct. No more profanity.
That's the problem though, Jacob. Somebody has told you that you can say no more profanity.
No.
But I believe if you'll ask Herman, time out. I believe if you'll ask Herman that as long as public speaking is open, that you can either cancel public speaking, which I understand, or you have to let the people talk with freedom of speech as long as they're not threatening or inciting a riot. I'm doing neither, which is...
Yeah, there can be, whatever rules need to be in place during the meeting can be there.
Okay, that's fine.
It's true of that. Hold on.
That's...
Think of public hearing before the Senate.
Okay.
Same deal, right?
Let me ask you
That
this.
they have First Amendment rights, but they can't say whatever they
Fair
want.
enough. Why does it bother you more of me saying ASS on a microphone than it does when I have to stand up and ask the man from Kalia, why aren't they holding our people more
It
accountable?
doesn't, and I will have those conversations. Thank you.
I have a statement that I want to read. As mayor, I have always valued and considered the feedback from our community, especially in response to the unfortunate and tragic death of Steve Perkins. The public comment section of our council meetings has served as a platform for citizens to express their emotions and aspirations for the way forward. With thoughtful analysis, I implemented personnel actions almost 2 months ago, following a lengthy and state-mandated review process. It is important to note that the responsibility for future actions concerning these officers now lies with the Independent Personnel Board in the appeal process. Furthermore, any criminal charges are under the jurisdiction of Morgan County District Attorney Scott Anderson. While the public comments initially provided a valuable avenue for community expression, it has become evident that many comments are no longer constructive. Regrettably, some have resorted to baseless accusations and threats directed towards me, my family, city council members, and others in the city. I do not believe that these false comments and threats are reflective of the people of Decatur. Decatur residents have made their voices heard and advocated for justice. Both civil and criminal punishments have been dealt, and the judicial and appeals process is underway. That said, I will not remain for public comments tonight or in the future, less items that are on the council agenda. However, I want to assure all citizens that my office remains available by appointment to address any concerns or questions, whether from individuals or from citizen groups. I'm committed to fostering open communication and engagement within our community. In light of this, it is imperative to find more efficient ways to utilize the considerable time dedicated to public comments during council meetings. This will enable us to prioritize activities that guide and prepare the city for a better future. Thank you for your understanding and continued support as we work towards a better future for our city. Thank you.
What you saying, you gonna be gone now?
Way to run for
At what point does this not raise a red flag? That's an honest question.
Hey, guys. Guys. All right. We're trying to continue. Christy Love is next.
Good evening. I remember on the ballot for the 2000 election that we had to vote to make interracial marriages legal in the state of Alabama. That year was 2000. It had been made legal nationwide 33 years prior in 1967. Alabama seems to have a bad habit of going against national law. It also has a bad habit of having racist laws. In 2022, we had to vote to erase racist language from the state constitution. Now, why are we to believe that anti-federal and racist laws and language are not part of our city ordinances? They are. Proof is the ordinance that Mayor Bowling applied regarding the protests. I suggest we have a review of city ordinances to make sure they are legal. Additionally, Mr. Marks seems to have a lot of power. His interpretation of what ordinances mean trumps everyone. I recall a discussion between Councilman Jackson and Mr. Marks in which Councilman Jackson's interpretation was valid but trumped by Mr. Marks. What can we do as citizens of Decatur if we don't agree with Mr. Marks' interpretation? Please don't take this personally. I feel the same way about the Supreme Court, too much power. But what can we do if we don't agree with his interpretation of ordinances?
I think you could file suit that say that the ordinance is unconstitutional, if you believe that.
Okay. What if
And
the
the other thing is you can talk to me and give me input as to what you think's wrong with my interpretation.
And I would say, I mean, I think, Elena, you can chime in, but we had the parade ordinance, I guess, in a statement by the mayor about how he was gonna use that. There were concerns about that, and we're changing it within a fairly short amount of time. So I think we are open to that if you have specific things. I mean, I think anybody's wanting to talk to you about.
That's not necessarily true. The parade ordinance wasn't looked at until it was weaponized against citizens.
Right, we were made aware that that was an issue, and that made the change. Hey, look, I appreciate all the comments, but let's let Ms. Love finish.
Okay. The particular one was in reference to, I think, what was going on with the rec centers. And I wanted to share something else with you about that. My son was here, and he got a little nervous because everything got, Steve, Justice for Steve, and he wanted to speak, and I wanted to read something that he was going to say to you. He said, "Good evening, Mayor Bowling," which is no longer here, "and City Councilman. My name is Michael Love McNair. I'm a 15-year-old citizen of Decatur, and I'm here to address the lack of entertainment for my age group and even my family. I have noticed all the coffee shops and car washes popping up around the city, but there is nothing for my friends and family to do. I live on York Place near McIntyre Lane. There is nothing in my neighborhood, but I was once able to ride the bus from school to my grand's house and walk to the Aquadome to play basketball with friends. Now we can't because the basketball court is used for pickleball. Didn't you tear down TC Almond to add pickleball courts? I now have to get a ride to Fort Decatur. Some of my friends don't have rides. I hear there will be one rec center for the entire city. How are we supposed to get there? Can we rethink that? When my family moved back to Decatur, we were looking forward to skating regularly, as we did in Georgia, but we have no skating rink. We have nothing. I will soon be a licensed driver. My mom would not allow me to drive to Huntsville to hang, and he's right, I'm not. I've already asked. Please think about all of your citizens, even those who can't vote yet. Thank you, and justice for Steve Perkins.
Thanks, Christy. Just real quick, we do have we do have plans for a $10 to $15 million DYS facility. I think you said your son's 15, right next to where Carrie Matthews currently is, and we've had discussions about Carrie Matthews that I think were productive and can be moving forward. So we're not going to build a roller skating rink, but if somebody would like to invest and open one, if it's profitable, they'll do that. But we do have plans to address the issue with having a place for kids to do what you're discussing.
Okay, I'll tell him.
Yep.
Hey, Jacob,
Yeah.
Now, can I please say something? I ain't been here about 3 weeks. You ain't even seen me. Let me say something.
I saw you. I have seen you. I have I've seen
I've been
you.
here.
No, I saw you at a basketball game.
Okay.
Just come to the microphone, and just please make it very brief.
I was just gonna say, you keep saying DYS. That's not a,
I understand, but the question was specifically about things for kids to do.
right,
That's
but,
at-risk kids is
Well,
DYS.
no,
But he's-
I would hope, and if Brandon were here and he's not, that it could be for any kids.
Right, but
in
they-
fact, Brandon has said that any kids in the city.
You gonna bring your kids there?
I would.
yeah. Now, but what I'm saying is, they close at a certain time. When you say the gym, they're not allowed to come in DYS gym and play when they
And
want
that's
to.
why I'm not trying to interrupt, but
Go ahead, you fine.
that's why we've had discussions about Carrie Matthews and other places that maybe could have longer hours. We hear you, and I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, you.
I agree. We have had conversations about Carrie Matthews. I mean, you know, Tam, the
Yeah.
entire time, I've not been in favor of removal of Carrie Matthews. Carrie Matthews is so important to our community, and Jacob has had conversations with me about the possible future for Carrie Matthews. So we're having those conversations. So hopefully it'll all work out so that we can save Carrie Matthews, restore Carrie Matthews, and have it there for the people of the community.
The issue was more of, the issue with Carrie Matthews was we have multiple reports about
The floor.
The floor.
Yeah.
And so there's been some further conversation about maybe there are some ways,
Other options.
other options with the floor. It was all about, can you put it in the same spot? So we're working towards that.
Okay.
Because that is what we're trying to do. All right, Elena's next.
Well, Todd Payne was supposed to be in here, he told me that he would talk with everything, so do I need to wait, or,
If you want me to move on and come back, I can.
I mean, just talked to him like 3 minutes ago, he knew I was coming up,
Okay.
but.
Kathleen Jackson. Okay. Love, do you want me to get her? Okay. Alice Elliott.
I'd like to voice my, I have a concern about District 1, Memorial Drive Northwest, from the corner of Moulton Street all the way back to the railroad. The issue is a garbage cans. Our street is well traveled. And we had the alley open so that the garbage truck could go through there. Those bins need to be off the street, and they putting garbage in the wrong container. They don't pick them up. And we need the code enforcers to check some of the residents as far as the cleanliness around their homes and all of that. This is an eyesore for us. We love it. There are other members that's gonna come so that we can get some of these issues corrected. And I'm hopefully that we can start now before the spring gets here. And they use our street also, well, for funeral processions and all of that. Garbage cans in the way, and it's nerve-wracking, and you can have accidents there. And so we just need the code enforcers or whomever, you all ride out and take a look at Memorial Drive. I've called several times, but I have not been able to get anything done. You've allowed the city property, hedges to grow up for trees. They are trees now you can't even see. The lighting on the streets is very poor. It's dark. And I just think that we need to contact Decatur Utilities or whomever, and that they can go ahead and look at these situations and see if they can't come and improve the conditions on Memorial. We have homeowners that live on Memorial. All of it isn't rental property. However, the owners of the rental property should be held accountable. Accountability is what we are looking for. These are just some of the things that we wanted to talk to you all about tonight. And then hopefully the next meeting, we will be here to address other issues. So that's my concern, and hopefully that you all will take it under consideration.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me say this, Ms. Elliott, and you and I have had this conversation, and time again, and you're exactly right. Everything you said is true. Alan and I have had, Alan and I have had this conversation, and we'll get together.
Dane is here.
Oh, Dane's here. We'll get together later this week, and we'll address some of those issues. We didn't have the conversation about the garbage cans lately, so I'll have to get with Daniel Boutwell about that. But
See if
we'll
they
address
can,
that
they
as
need
well.
to be on the alley.
We'll address that as well. I'll see if we can get that taken care of and get that moved like that.
Okay.
But Alan and I will meet later this week and address the other issues with the overgrowth and the rental property that you and I have talked about. So we will get together and hopefully we can get together with you as well.
Well, I appreciate
Right.
it. Thank you all
Yes,
very
ma'am.
much.
Lovell, correct?
How y'all doing? My problem, well, I didn't have a problem, but I was gonna talk to the mayor. But I'm gonna say this, ma'am, if you say, I'm tired of people calling me murderers and all this, that, and the other, can you just get up and walk off your job? Why should he be able to?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's
Hey,
crazy.
Let Mr. Craig talk. Thank you.
That's crazy. Then my other thing is for Chief Penny, which I see he's not here either. But
Ain't nowhere in the building.
you know, it's him as a supervisor, and then they talking about they want to heal Decatur, put Decatur back together. I don't know this officer right here, but whoever side she's on, that's her business. But still, while she's in uniform and while she's an officer, and I'm not saying she did this, but Penny should have went to his whole department and said, hey, listen here, I don't care whose side you're on, but as long as you're an officer, do not put your opinion out there. You understand? Because that's creating more division. Creating more division. Like the lieutenant that sat up here for several months with us. You know, then he up there posing. So what that make that do for the citizens? And we know all officers not bad. Then Hunter. They all want to paint the protesters as terrorists, that we're attacking people. We hadn't attacked nobody. We hadn't done anything.
Right.
But now my main reason that I came, because Tab was crying about his, what was his peace, his disturbing his peace. Okay, disturbing his peace. Cowbells and all that stuff. That stuff gonna go away. Steve was my cousin. We live in the same neighborhood. So to the immediate family, I'm gonna play this, and I don't want to, but I'm gonna play it. Hey, y'all see what I'm saying? All right. Now, when Tad get up and walk out his house, he probably just walking out to his car. I've been living over there for 12 years. I used to walk out in the middle of the night and everything. Now in the morning time, I'm like, because my peace is disturbed. And I have had other neighbors, but I'm the only one besides Justin and a couple more that will get up and say, my peace has been disturbed mentally and emotionally. You understand? I don't walk out. I don't care if it's, like today when I get ready to come here, it's broad daylight. But I'm still, I'm peeking, I'm, you know, because I don't feel safe. But better yet, we sit here and go through all this stuff about policy and procedure for protesters standing out in front of your yard, and we do all this. When if the city would have stepped in and made the same effort that they did about this, making sure we don't disturb his peace and his neighbor's peace, about the policies and procedures that was violated that night, then we wouldn't even be at this point. I mean, so y'all make sure y'all tell the mayor that he disturbed a bunch of he disturbed our whole community peace. We would never get over that.
And he signed up for it.
Would never get over that. I didn't sign up to hear no police shoot nobody, but he signed up for mayor. When I was correction officer, I used to get called all kind of stuff, but I knew that was part of my job. That's what I signed up for.
That's right.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right.
All right, James.
Two things I want you to notice, Councilman, is that your mayor has left you high and dry again. 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 You now have to face the people by yourself. The captain, you know the old phrase that the captain has to go down with a ship and everybody else has to leave first.
That's right.
But no, your captain is dipped and say, okay, I'm going up to my little high-rise apartment. Y'all talk to me later. I'm gonna let y'all little peons deal with it. I'm gonna let you handle all the issue, let you take all the flack even though you ain't did nothing. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing I noticed that, Mr. Herman, you clearly clarified with the ordinance that it does not pertain to protest. But what I did notice that you say was how he used the protest, he used that ordinance to inflict on our First Amendment rights, which is unconstitutional. Because you just said that it doesn't apply to protest, but he used that ordinance to apply to protest, which was unconstitutional. He intentionally misinterpreted it to protect himself, to impede on our First Amendment rights. So by your statement, you didn't clearly say that he was wrong, but by your clarification, he's wrong and ethically wrong.
Right.
Oh, ethically.
Is he right or wrong?
I'm not going to comment on it. All I'm sharing is you can have your interpretation. I don't have any.
Okay, that's no problem.
Yeah, I mean,
Mr. Vito finish.
That's no problem.
I don't.
That's no problem. That's no problem. Last week, January the 22nd, my father would have been 74 years old. He passed in 2021. He was a very active member of the community, both in Lawrence County and in Morgan County. And he gave me some tips on how to lead people. One thing he told me was this. He said, James, you can't lead a people that you don't love. You can't lead a people that you don't love. And I can definitely say that at one point in time in my ministry, I didn't love the people. I was preaching to people that I didn't love because deep down they hurt me. But you know what? As a leader, if I'm going to lead people and be around people and serve people, I have to forgive them if I'm going to care about their needs. So I say this to all those here, I love y'all. I love y'all. You want to know why? Because I'm a recluse. I stay to myself. But for this, I couldn't stay in my room. Because how can I say that I preach the gospel or preach justice and reconciliation and don't reconcile to the people that the mayor ran from? And then leave people that's supposed to help me with this city high and dry. And my last point is when you were talking to the chief and there was a little bit of contention about timing, which I understand because you're doing a selfless job and that takes a lot of time and energy from families, missing milestone moments, and I definitely understand. I'm going to tell you thank you for your service to our community. But I also understand what he's saying is that oftentimes we have to think about the people before ourselves. We have to think about the people before ourselves. And when my good friend T. Baker asked each and every one of you your opinions about Chief Pinion, the majority of you said, oh, I like Pinion, that's why we should keep him, essentially in a nutshell. But these are the people that voted for you, yet the people that voted for you has a different opinion, and your opinion is opposite. So who are you representing, yourself or the people?
Great question.
Well, that's a great question, McMaster, because Steve was in your district.
He was.
So how can you say these people, my man right here and over here, they're in your district?
You're right. And I know there are a lot of people in my district who think Chief Pinion should be fired. There are a lot of people in my district who don't think Chief Pinion should be fired.
The thing about it, sir, once again about leadership, it doesn't matter what I feel. What matters is what's the right thing to do, what's best for the people that I'm leading,
Thanks, James.
with the people that I'm representing. And that's what comes into question. Are you leading for yourselves or for the people that's in this audience?
We got you. Thanks. Thank you.
And that's my time.
Are you ready to? Okay.
I'm not sure. I had to track him down. It's like I gotta give legal everything I got all the time. This is getting old a little bit. So I think that it's important for the public to note that the only reason that Kalia representative was here was because of Chief Allen, not because of Chief Pinion, right? Chief Allen got us Kalia accredited, not Pinion. Also, on top of that, he had said something specific that laid in my head for a hot minute. Agencies have to comply with state law. You mean the state law 7-9A-609, where it says that police officers may not assist on a repossession without the borrower's consent or without a court order? You mean that state law or another one? Guess I was confused on that. I wanted Todd Pinion to come up here and, address the public because I think it's about time that he actually does that instead of send a Kalia, a representative that he didn't even earn up here. And I just wanted to ask him a very simple question, which was, how's the investigation on the vandalism of the memorial going? Do you have any suspects? Yes or no? I don't expect specifics. I just expect a genuine answer, right? The public deserves to know that. We all put flowers on that memorial. We all put candles up there. We all sat up there and emotionally felt something, right? Or did none of you feel that? Did Chief Todd Pinion, did Mayor Tab Bowling not feel that? That's all I wanted to ask him. Another thing that I really wanted to truly ask him, because I heard him talking to the Kalia representative, and he talked about an in-custody death. So when there's an in-custody death, that means that the person that was in custody was going to be charged with something, right? What was Steve Perkins going to be charged with? Does Todd Pinion know? Does ALEA know? Does Mayor Tab Bowling know? Does Mac Marquette? Does Vance Summers? Does Lieutenant Lindley? Does any of you know? Why was a man innocently murdered in his front yard? Why are we continuously having to fight this fight with all of you? Over and over again. And I have to track down my chief of police. I can't even talk to my mayor. I'm a constituent here too. Hunter Pepper isn't here. He's my district councilman. I've emailed him. I've called him. I've texted him. He's yet to respond to me about a parade ordinance that he originally met with me with. But he's on Facebook. For sure.
Been in Tennessee, Nashville, 1 or 2. All weekend.
Are we protesting outside your house, Jacob Ladner?
No.
Are we protesting outside your house, Billy Jackson? Are we protesting outside your house? Are we protesting outside your house, Herman?
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
Hey, Herman's a heavy sleeper.
Just his house, right? In order to fire the police chief. Go ahead.
Miss Jackson. It's Jackson. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
Just Mayor Tab Bowling's house, right? Just his house. That's the only person we've been outside. Not Hunter's, not Kyle's, as much as anyone else likes to try and say. We haven't been outside anybody's house except the mayor's, right? In order to fire the police chief, even though the mayor himself can do that single-handedly, but all 5 of you could do it yourselves. But we're not outside your houses. We are not telling you, hey, get this done right now. We are only outside the mayor's house. We still want to believe some good in you, but that's running thin. Very thin. Because all 5 of you could vote to get him out. But we're still only after the mayor. And yet the mayor leaves you. Wow. We blame him while he has left the blame to you. How do you feel? Go ahead.
I would just say he's his own person. He can leave if he wants to. I stay because I choose to. As Craig said, we don't have to have this. We don't. But I think it's important, and that's why I stay, is because I do think it's important. I think that's why everybody else, he could stand up and leave right now, so could Mr. Jackson. So
you're basically saying the mayor deems it's not important.
I think that's a question for him. I do not speak for him. He's an elected official just like we are. We are separate. The body of the city council is separate from the mayor, but that's why I can tell you why I don't end it.
All right. Let me give you a perspective from a 16-year-old, okay? Because somehow a 16-year-old predicted that the mayor either would not be here or would walk out during this council meeting. And this is what she told me. My mayor walks out. My mayor that I've called as a 16-year-old and heard from Miss Susan several times, but she's yet to get back to me since November. Melissa Bowling, who works in the city clerk's office, can continuously get back to my sister and my aunt through conductive reports about officers that have been recklessly giving tickets and giving out arrests. My mayor, on the other hand, nothing. My mayor, on the other hand, I can't get in touch with. I am trying to write a report for my historical civics class. I'm trying to get a quote from my own mayor, yet he refuses to respond because of what's going on in the city. Because my mother, my aunt, my sister, they've all continuously showed their support for Steve Perkins. Therefore, I am shoved to the side as a young citizen who's just trying to learn. You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. I show up outside the mayor's house with my family and friends, even though I'm very young, and it could taint my entire future. I show up because I care. I show up because this is my city, and I want things to change within it. Because I care. A 16-year-old who goes to Austin High. That's how she feels about your mayor and your council. I don't need any more.
Mr. Gaylor. Quick, yeah.
Is there not a standard for you all to have to be at a certain amount of meetings or something?
The mayor, this is not the mayor's meeting. It's a city council meeting. He doesn't have a vote, so no. If there are standards, like if I didn't, or any of us didn't show up for, I'd have to go back and look, but it's in, you can read it, and it's a state guideline. I think it's like 6 months you can be removed for office for that, but not, the mayor's not required to be at this meeting.
It's a moral thing, y'all. So y'all already see how they showed y'all how they feel, right? So they not gonna vote them out. So we gonna have to vote them out. That's the bottom line to that. So y'all might as well stop wasting that energy. I'm trying to get what y'all want out of them because y'all already know what it is. How y'all doing? I guess I'm the guy that dropped the MF that got all this feng shui around here. I do apologize if I made y'all feel uncomfortable, but I just want to know if y'all heard threats. Did y'all hear threats or anything?
No, I can address that if you want. It's more of just the
tone,
trying to have a productive meeting. That's just like any courtroom type or hearing you would see at any level.
The thing about the courtrooms and stuff like that is always to have leverage over the people. That means at the end of the day, that's the system, is to always to have your thumb right there on the people, so the people can't really stand up and vote voice what they feel, how they feel, without any kind of repercussions or being tagged a threat or, you know, any other.
I didn't feel threatened.
I know y'all don't feel threatened because nobody in here has done anything. Nothing. Then you got the mayor on social media crying about his truck, making it feel like protesters did something with his truck. Nobody did nothing to that. Come on, man. Come on, bro. Y'all know better than that. That was a pity party or woe is me moment. But I, you know what I'm saying? I don't see how y'all really still rocking with the dude that just left y'all high and dry. I mean, it's unprofessional. It really is. So, I mean, and it's just like somebody said earlier, if we all got up, you know, said, hey, I don't like the way this customer or whoever made me feel, and I just left my job, you think I would be welcomed back with open arms? Oh, I'm sorry you had a bad moment in your feelings, so let me give you a raise or whatever.
I mean,
I'm being for real, man. He's supposed to be the mayor. People supposed to look up to him. I don't know why people look up to public figures and all that stuff, but that's neither here nor there. But he's supposed to be a figure in the city where people can look at him and be like, he's handling business. He's standing on business. But you done got up after saying, I don't even know what they was he read, but and then he got up and walked out. Like it's like, I don't care about nothing y'all got to say. It's all about my feelings. And people really got to get out their feelings because it'll lead you in the wrong direction sometimes. But back to what I've got to say. So I need to ask y'all a question. So if y'all fought for this country and you came back home and you had your house shot up 17 times and everywhere you tried to look for help, people kind of brushed you off, how would you feel?
Frustrated.
That only frustrated?
Frustrated.
Where you put your life on the line for a country, and
I
this
am
is
frustrated.
You know what I mean? And it frustrated is a
understatement.
You know what I mean?
That's fair, but I'm frustrated.
I just heard earlier though that y'all shelled out or are gonna shell out $10 million for something. What was that for? Sewer. As long as I've lived in Decatur, it has always smelled funny. So that $10 million should have been shelled out a long time ago.
It actually will help with that.
But what I'm saying is, if you're willing to shell out $10 million for something that should have been fixed decades ago, you should be able to help out somebody that served this country and put their life on the line for this country. You should be able to help that person out, and it shouldn't even be no red tape. That should be cut clear. I'm talking just, hey, here you go. These are the people that's gonna fix your house. Here is a hotel room that you can stay in until they're done working on your house.
I got you, Mr. Gerber.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. People putting their life on the line for this country, man, and y'all treat them like crap, man. But, hey.
Cornelius.
Hey, how y'all doing?
How are you?
All right. How you doing, Jack?
Good.
How you doing? How you doing?
All right.
All right. Well, I came back up here because I seen my people constitutional rights were getting violated by the ordinance that he was speaking on. So I'm gonna say it one more time for you. I'm gonna state it. Any federal laws do not state. Federal laws trump state laws, ordinance, or whatever you guys are trying to come up with. Now, mind you, the mayor can govern the First Amendment, but he only can govern it when there's violence in place. For it's like his window getting busted out, so-called, something like that. That's the only way he can govern it, which all that is a lie. So I think he's purposely doing that to try to govern the First Amendment, but he can't.
That does not belong in domestic affairs.
All right.
They set it aside.
All right, let's let Mr.
All right.
Evans speak.
This is Murdoch versus, hold on, no it's not, hold on, let me see. Let me get it right. Howlett versus Rose, 496, US 356, 1990. Federal law and Supreme Court cases apply to all state court cases. All right, I got one more. Owens versus Independence 100, SCT 1398445, US 622. Officers of the court have no immunity when violating a constitutional right for liability, for they are deemed to know the law. So first off, well, I'm tired of even really talking about it because first off, she's a sergeant, so she already knows. They do not help and abide in civil cases. So first off, they was wrong for being at Steve Perkins' house. So there shouldn't be no other discussion of them going down for anything. Anything, man. And then for somebody, I'm a man of integrity, I don't know about you guys, but as far as I know, there's only one person up there that admitted that they were wrong for being there. But if you know it's the law and he's wrong for being there, then what other discussion do we need to talk about? There's nothing else to talk about. What happened, what did. I'm talking about they weren't supposed to be there from the jump. You feel me, Linda? There's nothing else to talk about. They're wrong, man. The captain is wrong. The sergeant knows the law. Summers, he was supposed to stop him. If anybody, it's Summers' fault for not stopping them from coming there. You see what I'm saying? So so going back and forth with it, and then somebody not speaking up as a man, as a person. You know what I mean? If you're scared to speak up, then you're a half man, half puppet. You know what I mean? You got to have something with yourself. I don't care if he was your best friend or your co-worker or whatever. He had no business there. So if he did, if he was wrong, he's wrong. But for you covering up for him, make you even look worse. Why don't you just admit that he's wrong, man, and move on from the situation? Because violating constitutional rights, I'm telling you right now, lawyers, they got civil rights lawyers on deck. So the ordinance don't mean nothing. Just so you know that. So I hope you got your wrist ties and your handcuffs, because we're going to protest again. And be ready to get arrested so you can stop that pickleball money.
The best person, I think she's left, but the best person to talk about Kerry Matthews and DYS would be Miss Elliott. She taught me everything I know about Kerry Matthews, and she's been in this community forever. She worked at Kerry Matthews forever. So those are the people that you need to be really talking to.
Well, I've tried to say this a lot, but you and I've had this conversation right here. I've gone to Kerry Matthews with Billy, that would be my connection to her, but I'm certainly open to talk with her about it.
Yeah, you would. She would be the one that you should talk to because she knows. But this is my thing.
If she wants to talk to me, I certainly will.
Dog, they leaving all y'all by y'allself. I was coming at Carlton or whatever, but I will say this. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. It's like, y'all, we have no leadership. None whatsoever. How can the city, I've been in the city, again, all my life. I volunteered in this city before working in this city, even with Chief Gillum. It disturbs me that we have no leadership. And I think that I don't want to say the higher-ups, but the people that's financing this city, big time money, I think they need to say something about this mayor just getting up, walking away. And what he's done was he's thrown it back on you, Jacob, again. So, and I was disturbed, Jacob. I'll come with you and then go back to Carlton. But I was disturbed this week because of a comment that you made a couple of, at the last council meeting when you said that you've been very patient. I understand that you've been very patient, but we've been very patient with you all as well. Right. And it's getting hard or whatever. But the problem is, Jacob, is you're the council president. And if you're the council president, we need you to lead. We have no leadership whatsoever in this city. What's going to get done? We got to wait 2 years before we get leadership. And so what he's doing, this is what Tab has told us. And I feel like the council have too. We're going to shift this whole thing on the next administration. That's not right. So that means that the next administration is going to have to inherit this big mess. And I know that and I hate to throw names out there, Carlton, but I even researched you. And I said he could not be DCS strong because he don't have the Decatur City schools you know, what they taught us in that area about coming together, because you made the comment that half of the city would never get over the Stephen Perkins thing. That, you know, and my thing is to you is this: you were part of the One Decatur thing. Don't give up on us.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, but this is what I want you to do. Meet us y'all. Nobody in leadership have come and said, "I want to meet y'all halfway." What can we do? I'm ready for the adults to show up in the room.
So here's my struggle with that. Okay. And either of you guys, if you want to chime in, chime in. There's a lot of misconception that we can do a lot of stuff. You know, I've heard we'll talk to the DA, talk to this person, talk to that person, make this happen. We don't have that authority.
Okay, well, let me clear this up so that you all can understand. And hold on, give me a few minutes. We're not asking you to do stuff on that end, because that's what the county does.
Right.
We're asking you to do stuff in the city. We need justice for Stephen Perkins, justice for Jalen DeJohnette, and we need justice for Decatur. You got to, some things is over there.
Right. 100%.
But what are you going to do to fix our city? Our city is in a bad shape, and we're not getting any support from you all, and the mayor just got up and walked away. Again, Pennon got up and walked away. Who's going to lead the town, Jacob? You're going to have to stand up and lead it, because they don't want to lead it. So that means that we're going to be standing here with nobody for 2 years. Okay, so the council, if y'all don't deal with none of this, then the next council's going to have to deal with it. And one thing I will say, and I hate to bring up somebody's name, but if Paige Bibby was still here, she would have stood up and she would have came out here and she would have tried to meet us halfway to try to figure out what can we do to try to make this thing right. You all have not did that with us. The only thing you have done, you have tolerated us. No, you have tolerated us, but you really have not heard us. Right. We're seeking for change. Somebody got to stand up and be the leader.
Walter Orr.
We need adults.
Amen. Amen. He need to be gone because he ain't working. To emphasize on what you just said, my brother, I did talk to him at the end of the council meeting last week and asked him, what can you do? We don't care what you can't do, but what can you do? See, what you can do is go to your neighborhood, to your district, and talk to the people in the community and find out what's going on with the people in the community. See, if you utilize your position rightfully, if I was in his position, I'm going to make sure the citizens in my district where this assassination just happened is okay. I don't care if I got to take my time to go one-on-one to your door. You sat here for 4 hours and hear us talk and say nothing. Then use that action and energy to go and interact with the people in the community and see what we can do to get them to feel at ease. This guy, where's he at? He can't even come out of his house and say he lived there 12 years. When have you talked to him? He actually witnessed some of the stuff. Have you went to him and sat down and said, sir, what can I do to help you in this community, to help you right to be peaceful? Have y'all went to Justin and said, you know what? We throwing this money around in here doing the work session like it ain't nothing. Y'all waited 30 days before y'all even went to his house to see the bullet holes. You get what I'm saying? And we still haven't got why y'all went into Steve Clay Perkins' house after he was shot and murdered and y'all in his house. We still not getting answers. And you tired, we know this. Man, if you tired, quit. You have the power to do a lot of things, man. I told you last time, I said, you really don't say much. But I was going to question you about it. I like you as a person. Yeah, I like but if I was in your position, brother, you know, you can pretend. I would go door to door and say, hey, sir, how does this affect you in our district? What could I do? Oh, let's see. Grandma down the road got a flag from the city to go to mow grass because it ain't getting mowed. Well, hey, let's get some people in the community over in this district, and we're going to take care of that so the city can quit finding her. What were you going to do in y'all's district? You got to go to your people in your district, but no, you sat behind a closed door. The only reason why we know anything about work sessions here is because now we had to have a murder happen with one of our family members to come in here and ask for justice and ask for body cam footage that we know we're not going to get. We know we're not going to get these answers. We know what you can't do. What can you do? That's what we need to know. Y'all see angry people because we're passionate. We're tired. I'm watching y'all laugh and smile in people's faces when that little girl was here. Steve Clay Perkins' daughter was sitting right here, Mayor laughing. This girl got to see somebody that's supposed to be a high pillar in this city that can make change in the city laugh at her auntie crying, at her family crying, and everybody. How you think this is going to scar our generation that's coming up? And when I told Tab that you have removed the shackles of fear off of people. You get what I mean by that? You open up a spiritual war. Because people no longer fear. And these youngins that you see, they are the mouth of Baal. And all they seeing is a corrupt system. They out here living reckless because of what they got to live for. You worry about us and we peaceful. We are the adults, man. And I'm going to tell all of y'all, in your district, I love you, brother, but all of y'all, in your district, man. I said this before, and I don't care if the bell rings. I said, nobody ever noticed a spirit let me know it's finna ring. Nobody ever noticed the root of the tree dying, y'all, until the branches started to fall. Amen. You ever ride down the road and you see a tree laying over and it's hollow in the middle? That's because they forgot to nourish the root. So you must nourish your root so that your branches grow strong. And y'all see it as a community, as a people. We got to come together and nourish each other because we're not going to do it. We got to come. This is real, man. Y'all, we got to keep coming because they want to use these tactics to throw us off. That's right. But let me tell y'all something. Y'all remember 4 or 5 weeks ago I told Tab, I said that I seen the rim, of the locusts is coming up. And I said his face was in the middle. A few weeks ago, what did y'all hear last week? The cicadas, 13-year cycle. Another cicadas, 17-year cycle. Has not emerged together since 1803. When God gives you a spiritual message, listen. Because y'all, it hadn't happened since 1803. And watch this cloud that's coming. I tried to tell y'all, it ain't what you can't do, man. It's what you can do. And we already see that you don't give it to do nothing. That's a fact. I removed that moment. You gotta walk through that.
I have a lot to say, but I'm going to withhold my comments to the end. When you guys want to hear what I have to say, let me know.
Justice for Steve.
All right, that was it. We are adjourned.
Y'all should go talk to Justin about his house. Y'all should do that. As council, as government, as our leaders.
Hey,